Hi, blessings, friends. I trust that you and your family are doing well. And just as we come to the end of celebrating emancipation, um, just having some thoughts on that, and um, just wanted to follow up on a short post that I did. Um, more and more as we continue to consider um, where we came from, uh, the sequence of events that got us to this point, socially and politically. Um, I think it's clear that we really need to consider what what do we mean by emancipation? Do we understand what actually happened? All right, that we now um, consider ourselves emancipated because of some uh, proclamation, because of some decree, because of some document that was signed, right? Or if what does it mean really and truly for us? Now, I'm saying that based on, again, looking at our condition collectively and as individuals. Emancipation relates directly to the um, the freeing of Negroes who were part of the British Empire, and the emancipation itself basically was them outlawing, making slavery illegal, right? You had 4 years prior to that where they tried to have um, have somewhat of a bridge called apprenticeship, where they basically the the official narrative for this is it's kind of funny as well. Laughing. The official narrative for this is that they would train us to be free, right? So from 1834, I believe it was, they introduced a period of apprenticeship where we could practice being free, I guess. And then in 1838 came um, the official uh, signing off on it. And now this part of history is important because I think I mentioned some time ago that the way history is told is important for us to get a type of orientation as to who is telling the history, whose history it really is, and why it was told in a specific way, right? Because if you go back to that, if we look back at that a little bit, obviously people at that time who were given limited rights, human rights, I don't think for them it would have been an idea as to question their own humanity, right? Because the limiting the human rights of a people is illegal, right? So the whole idea of now granting emancipation to some humans who you, the people granting the emancipation, um, abused is type of hilarious, to be honest, if it wasn't that serious. So it's basically someone who committed a crime, wanting to give themselves credit for stopping doing the crime, you know. But again, we put these noble titles on it, like emancipation, and of course the Negroes in North America, in the US. Of course, they would have had to wait, um, 40 odd years after to be told that yes, you can also um, be seen as full human beings, I guess, right? But again, if we look back at it in that way, then we understand what transpired, right? So if a people can grant you the right to be human, um, then does that really mean you're free? Because if the person who is granting you the right to be human had the right in the first place to deny you from being human, then if they tell you now that now you're human, your humanity is tied to them because they gave you the right to be human, right? Um, I mean, a lot of times we don't really think about it in that way, and I guess it's one of the reasons why we still depend and we look towards a people who've not shown um, any kind of credibility to living up to who they claim to be, um, and not taking responsibility for ourselves, right? So I always don't like to really drag on it, because the sad part about it is, I don't see enough people making an effort to liberate themselves, because as I just explained there, the idea that you were given freedom, you were emancipated by someone else, that in itself is not that's not how anybody else got their freedom. It's not how anybody else in the world got their freedom, right? We looking today um, across Europe, and there's the Russia-Ukraine conflict, which again, I think if we pay some attention to it, there is a lot that is being revealed in the way that a lot of the countries who participated in the colonialism and these territorial conquests through Africa and South America and Asia, the way they act now, I think if we look at it, we would be seeing that nothing has changed, right? And when they encounter people who are willing to fight to resist them and to resist what they stand for, um, the outcome is very different. And I believe that's why we're looking and seeing that in the African continent, um, a lot of the leaders there, a lot of the people there are beginning to now resist, um, playing along with the game of these colonial powers, right? The Anglo-Saxons, the Anglo-Americans, and are refusing to abide by their orders. Now, again, for me, that is, again, still very concerning, because it seems to me that we still, even at this point, 70 odd years after being, you know, not just given emancipation, but as the first um, Prime Minister of Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah, said, we were given first this idea of freedom through the emancipation, and then, in the 60s, we were given political freedom, right? That is when most of these countries that were former colonies of the British Crown got their independence. And the point he was making was that while we got political independence, meaning that we were allowed to appoint one of us to rule the territory that they divided, right? That they decided, okay, this is going to be yours. The political the political freedom did not translate into economic benefit, because they still maintained full full control over the economic levers within all the economies that they previously ruled. So they gave you political independence, but financial independence was always held by them, and that continued to be that way up until this day. Right? That is one of the reasons why sanctions is such an important tool to the Anglo-Americans, and they make sure that they utilize that and weaponize the dollar, which, I mean, they alone control, right? So the idea again of emancipation, looking at our leaders, I think is clear that particularly within the Caribbean, there is no leader that I've seen that is willing to exercise any kind of sovereignty. We wait for instructions, for directions from Washington, and we are quite satisfied to allow them to dictate our economic, our civil policies. Right? We have the situation with our justice system, which again we basically do, and we pass laws and policies that is in alignment with their societies, what they would subscribe to. Things like the whole abortion issue, the LGBTQI stuff, all this climate business and stuff like that. Right? Now, again, I'm not here to discuss those topics specifically, but again, all those things didn't come from us, right? We those things are minor issues compared to some of the major things that we're dealing with, right? With financial stability, right? Proper access to water and food, infrastructure development. Those things are way more significant. If you ask any average citizen of the Caribbean, those are the important things to us. But those things are low on our leaders' agenda, and they promote the things that the neo-colonialists support and advance, right? So, I mean, for me, as I posted in my recent post, the this idea of group emancipation, we were emancipated. For me, it's not valid. It's not a valid argument. All right, um, this is an individual assignment, and individuals need to begin to make those decisions that will allow you as an individual to operate um, free, and put things in place that would allow you to still provide and to take care of your families the outside of the system, basically, right? Because if we continue to wait for access to things that we need for our existence, right? Food and shelter and um, the other things that are necessary for us, it is clear that we will continue to be, beholden to powers that are outside of our um, of our countries, right? Because again, our leaders wait on their um, their handlers to give them instructions before they can act, right? And again, that leaves the citizens of whatever country it might be very vulnerable, right? So again, for me, it's an encouragement for us to pursue that on an individual level, right? Again, when you find like-minded people who are also pursuing the same path, it's helpful, because I mean that's why I share that's why I share these videos, because I believe that's the direction that we should be heading in, because we're going to need people who will be able to form communities of support, while we try to increase the freedom that we can enjoy. All right. So again, the shackles are off our feet and our necks and our hands, but it's up to us to remove those shackles off our minds, and nobody else is going to do that for us. We need to do that for ourselves. All right. So continue to take care of yourselves and each other. And until next time, you are willing. Be blessed.